Good afternoon. Welcome back to Dad Bod Trading. We are going to be taking a look at our mistakes, and that is one of the best ways to learn from, learn as you're trading. Learning how to trade is to look at the mistakes that you made and try to learn from them. So, that's what we're going to be doing here. Yes, Friday. That was yesterday, Friday the 21st. In the morning, I wasn't sure what to expect because we were looking at a huge drop in the market overall, and we broke several key levels. I wasn't quite sure what to do or how things were going to react. So the first mistake that I made was with BSFC. This was a huge runner, first thing in the morning. And I felt that if it could break 650, that it could keep moving. So it basically has a little bit of a gap between 650 and 850. And I thought if we can break 650, then we will be golden. So the plan was to take the break of 650 and risk 550. So what happened was it started off at 612. Jacked all the way down to 550 and then proceeded to break out in the first 2 minutes here. So I grabbed 20 shares at 660. 666 I think is what actually it filled at, which is really kind of unfortunate because that was basically the top. I should have waited. I should have held to the so-called 945 or 845 rule. So that was kind of unfortunate. That rule states that you don't trade anything before 8:45 or 9:45 Eastern time. And if that was the case, let's see, here's 8:45 right here. I never would have touched it because after 8:45, it never broke 650. So I grabbed it at 666 and was finally stopped out right down here into this big gap down. I should have probably set my stop at the bottom of this channel here, but I decided to stick to my plan, give it some time because the markets were shaky. So that was unfortunate. It wasn't a huge loss, but looking back, I should have, since this is a smaller stock, I should have realized that ever since this huge peak, this huge rush at around 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, all it did was fade and fade and fade. Granted, it did create a nice little channel between 650 and 475. So one could argue that you have, after this drop, you had higher highs and higher lows here within this wave, but that wasn't good enough. I should have waited, should have had some more patience. So that was unfortunate. Now, the big one, and it wasn't like I had huge losses on Friday, but the part that was discouraging was this. This is what really discouraged me. So Netflix had horrible earnings, and it went down overnight and gapped down. My initial plan, and I actually planned on doing this on Friday or a Thursday, I was going to buy a put and a call, both valued at about $100. And I believe that's called a straddle. And so as the price either goes down or up, one of the other or the other will lose 100% of its value. But since it's an options contract, you can only lose the amount that you put in. So $100 would be my max loss on, let's say, in this case, it would have been the call. I would have lost 100%, $100 from the value of the call. However, because of the extreme moves that Netflix makes usually during earnings season, you can recover that $100 loss with profit from the put. So the put would exceed $200, so that covers the original cost of that put, and it covers the loss from the call. And anything beyond that is just gravy. That's just pure profit that you can take. And if my estimation is correct, with this big of a drop, I would have made anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000. And the sad thing was, as I was working, I couldn't get away from my work. I was grouting, which is kind of time sensitive. I couldn't get away, and by the time I got done, it was 3:15. It was too late, and I missed that opportunity. So that kind of was like, kind of ground my gears a little bit. But I thought, you know what, it could fall some more, and let's see what happens. Well, I tried to be patient, and I actually was able to get in at the break of the low of the day right here with a put. I was my risk, my stop was the top of this candle here, and as you can see, the next candle right here actually never got to the top of that candle, so that was good. All's well. Problem happened when we had this dip right here, dipped down to here, and when it dipped down to here, I tried to get out with a market order instead of a limit order. Now, a limit order will not allow your broker to sell your contract for anything less than what you specify. A market order allows your broker to take liberties to just get you out of that contract to sell it for whatever price they see fit, or whatever price is available at the moment. This should have been a decent little profit. From here to here, you have it would have been like $40 or something like that, $40 to $30. Problem was, as soon as I hit the order, it bounced up a little bit. And when it did that, it cleared my contract. It sold my contract at a $40 loss instead of a $40 profit. And that really ticked me off. And then it proceeded to dump some more and more and more and more. Now, granted, I could have gotten back in at this bounce. But emotionally, I was so ticked at my broker doing that. And I was also ticked at myself because I've rarely used market orders. But I was nervous. I wanted to get in and out as quick as I could. And I just was not in the right frame of mind, I guess. I wasn't thinking clearly. So I was really torqued at the broker. I was really torqued at the fact that this should have been a win, and it was a loss. And when I am torqued like that, and not in the right frame of mind, then I have a really hard time trading with a clear mind. I have a hard time formulating plans after that because it's something that I've gotten a lot better at. Oftentimes in the morning, if I start off with a loss, I can regroup, make that money back, and then I'm good to go, But this is a little bit different. It wasn't something that I necessarily did. It was something totally beyond my control, and I was I was frustrated at myself for using a market order and frustrated at the broker for playing that little game with me there. So I'm sure nobody was sitting there behind the veil trying to skunk me out of my money, but it sure felt like that. So I gave it a few minutes to try to get over it, and I couldn't. So I decided to just wrap up the day. And that was unfortunate because there were lots of opportunities. I could have gotten back in here. This candle wick right here, that would have been another great entry. I could have even gotten back in here or at a break of any of these lows. So you have a break of the low right here. I'm taking profits into here. Could have gotten in at this break. A little bit of a profit there. But it was just a bad day for me emotionally, I guess we put it that way. And if there's one thing that me and everybody else should learn when it comes to trading, it is the fact that your worst nemesis is not going to be your broker. It's not going to be the price action. It's not going to be other traders that you're trying to follow or ignore, or not going to be people who object to you trading. but it's going to be your own emotional state, because emotions of fear, greed, disappointment, or anger, if they get the best of you, then you are going to have a really hard time being successful. So that's all I had for today. It's kind of like I said, a review of Friday's trades. So I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and that come Monday we can hit it hard, confident, happy, fresh minds, and maybe we can make something out of it. So have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.